Hello, hello. If you can hear me, let me know. I'll type in chat so you can check there, I guess, if you can't hear me. But if you can't, just let me know in chat. If you are tuning into this in post after the stream is over, feel free to skip ahead. After the 5-minute mark, we'll be starting the stream proper with our read of the Rapscallion Quickstart. What's up, wise man? Welcome back. Nice to see you here. We're just settling in, making sure everything's okay. As I set up everything in the background. This little window of time, we're just waiting for people to come in, for people to settle in after work or wherever they're coming from. Get yourself a snack, get yourself a drink. Just relax. Oh, I'm talking with my mic muted. I'm so sorry. Hello, hello, Middle Shelf. Hello, Kid Charmander. Nice to see you. Yes. They, Magpie Games is behind Root the RPG. They're behind Avatar the RPG. They're behind Passion de la Pasiones, I think it's called. They're behind, golly, we could just look at their page when we go through it. They have a couple of systems there that they've help get off the ground. Day's been good, very calm. Excited to cover something that's not what I've been covering for the past 2 weeks. I've known about Rapscallion for a little bit of while, but I've really wanted to actually read it. Now that the campaign is going, it's a good time to start. Middle Shelf says, I don't know the system, but the art has me interested. I'm awake early enough to watch live. Nice to see you. I wonder what time zone you're in. My guess would be somewhere in Europe. So if I'm guessing a +5, +6 to the EST time zone, maybe you're somewhere in London, somewhere in Scandinavia. It would be around, let's see, what time? It would be around, no way, it'd be 1 a.m. for you? No luck. Maybe you're somewhere else, farther east of Europe. But thank you for tuning in. Nice to see you here. Let's see. And with that, we're going to get ready to start. Let me just load up a couple things on my end so we can get into this. Whoa. 12:30 here. 12:30 means you are +4 on me? Somewhere in the UK, Thumper, I would imagine. Welcome. We're talking anyway. Hi guys, welcome to another stream where we're covering another quick start, another play test. This is not an officially released game quite yet, but there is a beginner document so you can get right into it and learn the rules before the official thing releases. So Rapscallion is published by Magpie Games. Let's see if I can get this on screen. Great. Rapscallion, this Quickstart you could pick up for $0.00. And the reason I'm talking about it now, even though it came out a while back, is because they've had a Backerkit going of a game that they're going to be releasing sometime soon. Rapscallion is a powered by the apocalypse game, a PBTA game like we've covered a couple of times before, about pirates, role-playing pirates in the Great Sea. This is going on now. There's 23 days left as of this recording, and we're about to learn what this game is about, how this is different from the games we've seen before, and how exactly they encapsulate a pirate-themed story. Now, I'm a big fan of pirates. I like a lot of pirate media. I've been reading One Piece for, at this point, about half of my life. I have watched Arthur Flag Meets Death. I've watched Pirates of the Caribbean. I do enjoy any... I'm a big fan of sea shanties. Unfortunately, could never sing them myself. But this is cool. This is exciting. I'm interested to see how they handle specifically the different kinds of pirates that can be aboard a ship, how they allow a crew to adventure on these ships, and of course the terrors they meet along the way, and of course ship mechanics. I'm always curious how they handle the detailed care of a vessel on the seas. Very cool stuff. I'm in Korea. Wow, nice to see you here. That's awesome. Yeah, that would make sense. It is plus 13 on me, so you'd be 9:30 a.m. Fantastic. It is early for you. Good morning. Thank you for watching the stream. And we're gonna get into it. I mean, it's that simple. You could watch this video. I might just play it in the background. Yeah, like this. So this is running right now. If this game that we cover interests you, then you should tune in and read it yourself. From the quick start, you can get 4 different documents. I will show you here. You can have the quick start, which is a 41-page guide on how to play this game. You can also get the playbooks of the different characters you could play, details character creation, which is going to be interesting. More playbooks, apparently about the ship. I don't really understand what this is, but it should be interesting. And basic moves, a quick guide on how to play the game as the game progresses. We have talked about Powered by the Apocalypse games before. As a general summary, I don't know how much it'll apply to this game in particular, but PBTA games are commonly labeled as fiction-first type games, where they have a greater focus on a dramatic, ever-developing storyline that takes into account successes, failures, and partial successes, which is essentially success at a cost. The rolling system is relatively simple. It's 2d6 for everything. And depending on what character you want to play, there are multiple playbooks that embody a type of character rather than their specific skill sets. It's more of, usually it leans more into the tropes of the kind of characters you can find. So for people looking for super crunchy combat, PBTA isn't exactly where you would find it. But if you're looking for a game that almost in its entirety focuses specifically on the motifs and genres of a specific story, that PBTA is famous for being very good at that. And this is a PBTA game of pirates, as we're going to read right now. Very simple. The quick start is a bare bones preview of, let me zoom in on this, the Rapscallion RPG. If you want to run a few sessions of Rapscallion, this is everything you need. 6 of the game's playbooks, 2 of the ship playbooks, all of the basic moves, how to deal with harm, truck, luck, and bond, ship moves and rules, downtime moves and how to use them, and guidelines for running play. These rules aren't yet set in stone. There might still be changes coming based on your feedback and play tests. You're best equipped to use this quick start if you're already chummy with the Powered by the Apocalypse game framework. If you played any of the RPGs under that umbrella, like Masks, Urban Shadows, or the original Apocalypse World, even better. But if you're a novice, that's fine. Jump in feet first, take risks, and have foolhardy fun. I've said multiple times on stream, Masks is one of my favorite games ever, which is a PBTA game. Let me actually show you... let me look up Magpie Games and show you what else these guys are known for. Let me bounce over here. Let's see how far I can go. Magpie Games, products. So... these are the games that Magpie Games have helped get off the ground. Avatar the RPG is obviously a great thing that they've been working on for 2 years now, I think. Root the RPG, based on the board game, I believe. Rapscallion, Urban Shadows, Wizard Kitten's card game, Zombie World, Masks: A New Generation, Passion de la Pasiones, which is based on like telenovelas, Cartel, Bluebeard's Bride, well acclaimed, this one particularly, and a couple of other games I think is listed here. Yeah, Empyrean and other things. So that's Magpie Games. They're great. They actually run a GM program. So there are a number of game masters who run games every month. You can buy tickets to their games here on their website specifically, and they run games for the games that they host on their website. Magpie Games was exactly how I got into playing Powered by the Apocalypse games. I played one of their games and learned the system through their tutelage. So I am very thankful for them. They're one of the first people to help me break out of my D&D only shell, because I had to learn the games and I learned on the job, and it was a lot of fun to get involved with people I've never played before and just learn a new game. I believe if you join their Discord, sometimes they have community days where they run games for free, and you can look into that if you so choose. Magpie Games Discord, I'm sure, is somewhere on their website. So check them out. Really cool. I have played, I believe, with GM Luis Miguel. He's great. And look, there's a Rapscallion game right there, if that's a good time slot for you. Okay, bouncing back to the game. Let's see. Middle Shelf says, does this game include a world setting as well? Well, we're about to find out. The credits, the art design and writing is by Whistler. I can't find any information about Whistler. People just know them by what they publish. I think there's probably some videos of them being interviewed online on YouTube or something like that, but they don't have any very prominent social medias, so it was hard to track that down. Developmental editing by Brendan Conway. This guy's worked on Masks. I recognize this game in particular, but let's keep going. The World of Rapscallion. Rapscallion is a tabletop role-playing game about pirates sailing. Oh, by the way, is volume good? I checked volume. I know that's been a complaint for a couple of weeks now, but let me know if the volume's good. Rapscallion is a tabletop role-playing game about pirates sailing on a dangerous magical sea. In this game, you play as a roguish pirate crew. Your goal? To have adventures, find treasure, and get into trouble and hopefully out again. This game is about adventure. You're beset on all sides by navy ships, bounty hunters, and rival scallywags. But lo, you've got a dirty trick up your sleeve and lady luck on your side. Plunder and parley, gamble and laugh, piss off a god. Play to find out if you live to tell the tale. Rapscallion uses a modular world. Every game will look a little different, and your adventure will take place in a great sea that has never been seen before. Later in this quick start, you'll learn how to create your very own map of that sea together. There you go. Right there, middle shelf. Page 10. However, there are a few things that must remain constant throughout each iteration of the tales you tell together. Stable pieces of story that help keep this a Rapscallion game. There are concepts and ideas that will show up throughout this quick start, so let's best introduce them now. Awesome. Volume is good. Okay. You're a crew of dastardly pirates, and you sail aboard a pirate ship. Today your bounties are low and your pockets are empty, but you aim to change that. There are 6 types of pirates called playbooks that a player can pick from the quick start. This is what I said again about the playbooks. We can actually just quick glance at them now because you guys are here. This is the captain, chronicler, matalot, mountebank, navigator, and swashbuckler. So it seems to be either tropes of specific types of pirates or roles like navigator. So those are the examples of the playbooks we'll be using in this. No matter which pirate you pick, you are a crew with 1,000 enemies, and the only dubious friends you have are each other. We'll see if it's enough. One player on your crew will take on a special role, that of the Fates. If you are the Fates, you act as the seas, the winds, the world. You play every seafaring monster and every terrible storm. So this is the Fates, I'm assuming, is the game master type role. You aren't the enemy of the players. Your role is to make their lives exciting, cinematic, and special. Do the world justice. Play to find out what happens next. In this world, there are forces of law. These forces are land-dwelling, corrupt, and cruel. They hoard wealth, land, and power. Your group gets to decide how depraved the law can be. If your world has colonialism, they are the colonists. If your world has slavery, they are the slavers. In the face of this monotonous evil, piracy is violent, wild, and most of all, free. On the edge of the law's eye line, a great horde of patchwork pirates crawls on the sea and makes rude gestures. Humans live in the world with laws, toiling under thumbs of the powerful. Perhaps you were one of them once. So, land equals bad. Sea equals freedom. That tends to be the general trope of this. You clearly do not follow the laws of the world, else you would not be pirates. Number white, 1:44 a.m. here. No wonder I missed these streams. Yeah, I'm sorry I can't help that. But I appreciate that you are here now. You really should get some sleep though. The VOD will be saved after the stream, so if you want to tune in later, if you're finding yourself in need of some shut-eye, feel free to clock out and watch this later. But thank you for being here, Number White. I really appreciate that. Let's see here. The rest of the world is a lawless domain of pirates and myth, and it is mostly seas. Seas are the canvas for your adventure. Past the margins of the map are stranger, more dangerous seas. Here, legends blend with reality, and every superstition has a grain of truth to it. Pirates call it marginalia, or they call it magic, or they just call it strange. Death is a force and entity that lurks beneath the sea. When it comes to collect, you can attempt to make a deal with it. Be warned, it is not known to be lenient. Death is a domain of curses and ghosts and sirens. Demons corrupt, consume, and make deals. They possess no bodies, so they must borrow someone else's. In return for pieces of you, they'll give you powers beyond your imagining. Ooh, this is cool. Kind of like a contract type deal. This is neat. So they're reliant on you to be able to do anything. Awesome. The sea and the sky are the domain of fate, luck, and prophecy. The stars will always guide you where you truly desire to go and will show you what you truly need to see. They ask for your lucidity in return. The sea contains leviathans, who are its servants and swords. Books must be made with good permanent ink by a true wordsmith. This is an interesting one. This is the second time I'm seeing this. To become magical. Such a book will transport you, invigorate you, hypnotize you, trap you, or curse you. If you put too much of yourself in them, books take on a life of their own. This is how a djinni is born. Okay, so we're reading about a pirate story, right? A pirate story. And they got the crew, they got the DM, they got obviously land versus sea, but these are kind of interesting. Not what I expected to see in a pirate seafaring story. So specifically, demons is a very interesting topic to bring up here. Usually you would see that in more fantastical, mythical type stories. I really like books being something very relevant. Maybe magic is wielded through literature, through writing. Spells such is tapped in through that. That should be really interesting. Cool. The further away from law you sail, the more the world becomes alchemy, which makes humans who live in the world without laws look very strange indeed. That includes you. You can be a cyclops, a siren, a selkie. You could be cursed, you could be touched by gods. A liar's tongue will turn black, and those who kill leviathans stay in their hands forever. Wow, that's a lot of lore in 3 sentences. Okay, let's... So you can be a cyclops, a siren, a selkie. So if you join this pirate crew, you don't necessarily have to be human. That's pretty neat. You could be cursed, you could be touched by gods. A liar's tongue will turn black, and those who kill leviathans stay in their hands forever. So leviathans are some sort of holy and sacred creature. Here, the sea contains leviathans who are its servants and swords. Great. That's pretty neat. I don't know what that means yet, but I'm sure maybe we'll find out. Let's keep going. Also, there's a lot of really nice art here. So there's this. Oh, look, we can see a Cyclops guy right there. Look at this. Look at this fella. Cyclops guy. Okay, let's do a quick read of setup. Let's see. Gather your crew. Discuss safety tools. Lines and veils and X-card are things we talk about every stream. Every stream. You should definitely try it. Look at those. Look into those. What you need: 2 6-sided dice, as per classic PBTA. Printouts of the player character playbooks, the ship playbooks, and the basic moves. So that's 1, that's 2, that's 3. So all 3 of these PDFs come into Quickstart as well. You're free to print them out as needed. Finally, you'll need a world map. A large piece of paper you put in the center of the table where everyone can see it. The fates will show you what's on it. Right now, it'll just be a few islands and some notable locations, which will add to it through character creation. Oh, cool. So the map is kind of formed while the characters are being created. I like that. All right. So I'm assuming this happens, yes, so setting up a game. This happens before the game. So there's 3 questions that have to be agreed upon by the party before you continue. Why are the seas here? It says this isn't just a world building question, it's also about your game's relationship with real life. Is this a game about a fictional ocean, unrelated to our world, or is this game perhaps set in a mythological corner of our real oceans in the long distant past or future with all the nuance and history it entails? Yeah, so that makes sense. Is this truly fantastical, a truly disconnected world, or does this pull from the history that already exists in our world and exists either in a time different or nearly hidden away from the eyes of the present? Obviously, you have to define the tone of this game. What kind of topics and subjects are you okay with sharing? Some sort of consent checklist is really useful. I have one that I've been using for years, which I always pass out to my players before we discuss games that will likely involve some sort of violence. What is the story genre? And of course, you get to choose. Of the 2 opposing forces we discussed in the last section, the world of law and the world without laws, which do you want to be the focus of the game? If the law are dominant, they become a terrible, monotonous enemy, bending the seas to their winds, and pirates are ferocious underdogs nipping at their heels. If the world without laws is in charge, then the world is wild, mysterious, and mythical, with many competing factions at each other's throats. Agree on a ship. There's 2 ship playbooks. The Legend. This famous pirate ship may be old, but it has a long history and a powerful reputation. Now it's yours if you've got a long legacy to chase. Pick the ship if you want to be dashing, important, and established. Expect to have the eyes of the law and criminals alike trained on you from the get-go. Got it. The Ramshackle. This home-crafted boat is tied together with a spit and a prayer. It may not look like much, but you've got your heart and soul into it. Pick the ship if you want to tell a real underdog story, forge a found family, and fight to make a name for yourself. So, this is kind of like, what is it, the Black Pearl in Pirates of the Caribbean, where there's a very famous ship with a lot of reputation. And that's basically the legend. So you already have something to live up to. The Ramshackle is basically the start of any pirate crew, the very, very beginnings where you have no reputation and you're working to build that. So whichever one your story would rather focus on. There's 2 ship books. Here's the Legend, and here is the Ramshackle. And they're slightly different. I don't know what the mechanics are yet, so we'll look at it probably later. Alright, these are the 6 different characters you could play, the playbooks. As per usual PBTA, these are the different tropes you could lean into. And you start your game. Sorry if I pause every now and then. I have this really nice cup of tea that I'm indulging in. Over to the side. It's peach oolong tea. It's very, very nice. And whenever I feel my throat being really dry, I just get a little bit. Okay. First one is the captain. We can zoom in on these. You've got a commanding air of a general, the tongue of a snake oil salesman, and the ostentatious floppy hat of a real pirate captain. Pick this playbook if you want to inspire your crewmates, strategize, command forces, or simply wear the biggest and blackest boots in any given room. If you're a captain, expect a lot of treasure hoarding, politicking, and lackeys in your adventures. The playbook treats you as the de facto leader of your crew and encourages you to be power hungry. That's a good line. Encourages you to be power hungry. The swashbuckler. You're a dashing, dramatic corsair, a creature of the blade and of the heart, and you wield both with a romantic flair. This is very Inigo Montoya coded, isn't it? Pick this playbook if you want to break hearts and look glorious. You have your passion and your steel. You're only in need of an audience, and your crewmates will have to do for now. If you're a swashbuckler, expect to focus on epic battles, over-the-top drama, and relationship between crewmates. These relationships might become intimate and passionate. Make sure to discuss boundaries with your fellow players. The chronicler. In a land where your thoughts can turn your teeth black, writing a book is a dangerous profession indeed. As a chronicler, you will delve into the most intimate of sea-born magics, the art of the page. Unfortunately, the more of yourself you put into books, the more reluctant they are to release you. There's a lot of turning your body black in this book, right? Am I crazy? So your thoughts can turn your teeth black. Where's the other one? It was here. A liar's tongue will turn black, right? There's another one right there. Those who kill Leviathan stain their hands forever. So the kind of the soot stains of your actions, or even your thoughts, I guess, as a chronicler, are something significant to this story. So let's see. You will delve into the most intimate of sea-born magics, the art of the page. The more of yourself you put into books, the more reluctant they are to release you. So kind of like a cursed magic type deal. If you're a chronicler, expect an increased focus on knowledge gathering and long-term player-driven projects. This playbook faces the themes of escapism and social alienation. It will ask you how much control you wish to have over your creations. Ooh, I like this. So you kind of work for a long time towards the creation of something. And once it is made, once it comes to being, is it truly yours? I guess is the question. Sounds like being literate is pretty dangerous in this world. Yep. It seems more like they treat literacy like arcana, right? That's the word I'm looking for. They treat it like magic. If you can read, you can cast magic is basically what they're trying to say here. The matalot. How do you pronounce that word? How do you pronounce that word? Let me ask Chrome. Chrome would know. Matalot pronounce. Matalot. Matalot. What about the British pronunciation? Matalot. Okay, pretty darn similar. Sure. That works for me. The sea makes simple creatures out of us all, and no one knows this better than you. You are the strongest person on the ship. The rigging has left imprints on your hands, and sleeping at sea has left vinegar in your blood. When the storm strips all else away, the crew will remain. You're here to make sure of it. You're the muscle, is what this is. If you are a Matalot, expect to grapple with themes of anger and control. Your rage keeps you strong and shields your crew from danger until it makes you the danger. Expect to break things, and not always the things you want to see broken. Cool. So far we have the captain, the leader, the talker, basically. Swashbuckler is the romantic. Chronicler is the caster, kind of the focuses on escapism and social alienation. And the Matalot is the muscle, a danger upon themselves. The mountebank. You've made a deal with the devil. Now dance, you lean little gambler. Dance, you bright-eyed magician with the dark fingers. Dance, you sweet-faced coward in a pretty dress. Dance to the devil's fiddle. In exchange, you'll get power as foul as old blood and addictive as new sugar. You are the stuff of sailors' nightmares. If you're the mountebank, expect to have an established demonic NPC in your party and your head, who probably won't have your best interests at heart. Before playing, discuss role-playing boundaries and the sensitive subject matter with the fates. So this is the kind of person who is wrestling for control, who is risking everything on a chance for their dreams. Very cool, very mystical, very warlock-coded. The navigator. There's a piece of the sea inside you. It lets you sculpt the waves, ride the winds, hear the stars whispering, and unfortunately, the sea wants it back. You can shepherd your beautiful ship for 1,000 leagues, fleeing your pursuer like a fox from a hound, but the sea will find you someday. If you're a navigator, expect more focus on your ship, the stars, and the sea. Expect fewer brawls and more messing with fate from the shadows. This playbook will give you pursuers, and it shines most when you sometimes let them find you. Well, that's fun. So not only are you kind of choosing the character that you best feel fits what you want to embody, the character you choose kind of dictates what surrounds you. So if you pick captain, you want politics. If you want mountebank, you want gambling. If you want navigator, you want it'll give you people who are chasing you, you know. Depending on your party composition, certain aspects of the story will shine a little brighter, which is really nice. This is a strong 6. I think mountebank and chronicler are a little bit similar for now. I'm curious to see what they look like moving forward. Check your work. Yeah, exactly. When you choose your playbook, you're also choosing what stories you want to tell. This also means you don't want to overlap playbooks with another player. If there are 2 Madalots on one crew, they may very well be very unique characters, but they will be grappling with the same sins and facing the same challenges. Every player should pick a unique playbook to prevent such redundancy. Yep, makes sense. Before you make your final choice, look over your playbook's abilities, note how much harm they can take, and the way they might accumulate and use luck. Finally, read that playbook's vice, a weakness or trouble that you just can't shake. These are all essential parts of the playbook's pool of abilities, so you should be okay with them before moving on. Okay, so let's look at a playbook and see what there is to learn. So we're looking at harm, we're looking at luck, and we're looking at vice. Harm is like an HP bar, I think. Luck is a resource you can spend, and vice is a weakness you can't shake. So let's look at captain. Captain is pretty straightforward. All right. Well, I see harm and luck right there. Harm, you can take 5 and then more. I don't know what this means yet. I'm sure we'll find out if soon enough. Luck 5. How do we get luck? I don't know. Vice, obsessed. Resist to compel for the sake of the crew. You can be compelled by the fates to pursue your ambition at all costs. If you screw over a teammate in the process, mark 1 experience and mark 1 unrest. Whenever you clear obsessed, move 1 unrest. I don't know what any of these words mean. I truly don't. Yeah, okay, here's unrest. When the unrest track fills, so what happens? If you screw over a teammate, mark 1 unrest. Okay. When the unrest track fills, the crew becomes wild. Clear the track. If the crew is already wild, your lackeys instead attempt a mutiny. Each player character must choose which side they're on. Quell the uprising or speak your last words. Cool. Splotchy Ink says, that's kind of my one critique of the PBA system as a whole, the incapability of having people wanting to play the same playbook. I mean, I'll be honest, it's not that big a deal, right? If 2 people play the same playbook, you do run the risk of them kind of sharing the spotlight in any and all scenes. It really is up to the players to differentiate themselves enough that when a situation arises, they're not both called to action, right? It's the same way like a party in D&D might not want to have 2 full rogues, right? Because rogues stay stealth, they pick locks, they use sneak attacks. Like, whenever you want one person to scout ahead, both of them will be good at scouting ahead. That's the kind of overlap that they're trying to avoid. Not to say it's impossible, just to say that the game is best experienced individually when everybody plays unique playbooks. I don't think there's a hard rule on you can't play the same playbook. That's just how I see it. But I'm assuming if you're playing with like a crew of 4 people, it does feel like there'd be too much overlap if 2 people pick the same one. The same way like if you pick 2, like, I wouldn't say 2 paladins actually. Like 2 monks, you know? 2 monks in a D&D game. They overlap quite a bit mechanically. Each playbook comes with a choice of a few oddities, qualities that distinguish you from the other unwashed rabble of the high seas. Pick one that appeals to you. This is your eye patch and your parrot, your scars and sins, your je ne sais quoi. All oddities come with baggage. Some might give you enemies or unwanted attention. Others might compel you to do certain foolish things. Compel comes up again. Baggage isn't a bad thing though. Embrace the unsavory side of your oddity. Think of it as an excuse to get into trouble. Each oddity comes with 4 numbers. These are your starting traits. Write them in order into your 4 empty trait boxes at the top of your playbook. The traits represent 4 pirate-ish qualities. Traits can be anywhere from -2 to +3. You can add them to or subtract them from the dice that you roll. The traits are in order from the list in the playbook. So these are kind of your character traits. These are kind of your stats, so to speak. Blood. Liquid courage. When your wits and wisdom escape you, you're left with your will to survive and the pants you woke up in. Use blood when you face danger, make trouble, or act daring. So this is kind of your courage bar. Vinegar. On the high seas, being strong will keep you on top. Being cunning will keep you alive. That's you, quick as a fox and jumpy as a hare. Use vinegar if you want to fight dirty, outwit your enemies, and spot trouble before it spots you. So this is kind of like savvy. This is like your, not savvy. This is just like your reflexes, right? This is your instinct. So this is courage. This is instinct. Polish. Oh, well-bred are you, or just good at pretending? With that swift tongue and sweet face, you're more dangerous than any sword. Use polish to talk your way in and out of trouble. So polish seems like charisma, seems like charm, your ability to, of non-violent confrontation. And Spitfire. Here's that special something. Not everyone has it. Those who do are best avoided by civilized folk. It's a spark in the eyes, your naked soul, a wildness that spirits of this world and the next might notice. Use Spitfire to twist your fate. This seems a little different from the rest. I'm curious if they're going to single out Spitfire as something unique. So I guess this is like your ability to commune with the wild, right? So this is in the same field as like animal handling, survival, like a more almost druidic energy to it, right? Your ability to interface with things that are not human, I think would be the word I'm looking for here. So yeah. So courage, in the face of danger. Vinegar is instincts and reflexes. Polish is your charm and charisma, and Spitfire is your natural ability to commune, I suppose to be the word. At least that's how I understand it. And only 4 stats, and you give them from -2 to +3. So let's look at, what are we reading? Captain? Captain has here. Oh, here. So you can kind of choose. So you choose one starting oddity. So Sea Prince would have 0 blood, +1 vinegar, +1... I'm cheating here. +1 polish, and -1 Spitfire. So you can choose kind of the flavor of your... You can choose kind of the flavor of your captain. And if you were going to have 2 people play captain, a rare situation, surely, but I guess kind of possible, you'd probably be led to pick different oddities. So at least you would have different starting stats, you know? For example, well, this is cool, possess. -1 blood, +1 vinegar, +1 polish, 0 Spitfire. You've got a ghost inside you. You can see, hear, and commune with the dead by unleashing your power. Spend a bond with your ghost to phase through a wall, cause 2 harm with a touch, or terrify your enemy with phantasms. You are compelled to do as the ghost desires. There's a lot of like... So all of this red text highlighting, all of this italics, these are all implied to have deeper meanings. I'm curious where that's going. I read Spitfire as saying the character is wild and unpredictable. Let's read it again. I think so. Here's that special something. Not everyone has it. Those that do are best avoided by civilized folk. It's a spark in the eyes, your naked soul, a wildness of the spirits of the world might notice. Yeah, I think that too. It's like, it's a state of character that people don't understand. Kind of like a wild card energy. Okay. And choose your kit. These are assumedly items that you can have on your person. So here, you can have it on your person or in your bunk. Each object in your kit has tags associated with it, described in page 21 of this quick start. However, you won't see tags listed in your kit. Commonplace objects like cutlasses, healing salves, tonics, and revolvers can be found on page 40. Okay, so items have specific abilities. So this reminds me, we read this last year. This reminds me of Apocalypse World. Apocalypse World is the original powered by the Apocalypse, appropriately, that invented this system. They put a lot of emphasis on your inventory and gave them tags to allow them different uses, different abilities. So let's check out a kit and see what that looks like. So here, pick a kit. Red items are heavy. So this one is 2 cutlasses, a pistol inscribed with your name, big shiny black boots, a cigar box, a silver hip flask, a bandolier, manacles, the ship's metal lockbox with a key and whatever's inside, a bullseye lantern, 1 treasure. You can wield any weapon that isn't heavy. So this is like a story beat, right? The secret of your ship. Obviously is held by the captain. So these kind of signal where you come from, what's your current history. You can see here fancy noble clothes, signet ring. You can see here inheritance papers, real or forged. So they're kind of a way to flavor your character, and they come in bundles for convenience sake. Choose your name and look. Easy enough. Describe yourself. Introduce your character to the crew. 3 or 4 questions a playbook asks of your character. We can do these hypothetically. That's fine. So every character sheet has these questions. I lied. They're not here. Where are they? Questions. Here. You obsess over your ambition. Become a pirate lord, vanish a powerful foe, claim a mythic treasure, something else. Simple enough. We could do claim a mythic treasure as our first. In addition to your kit, you have a mysterious old map claiming to lead the treasure. How did you obtain it? Mark its treasure on the world map. Oh, sick. So when you make the world map, you can mark a treasure on the world map. You can mark an X on the world map to mark where your treasure is. This is your ship. How did you obtain it? What did it cost you? So, classic story from Pirates of the Caribbean. You killed the previous pirate captain and you took the ship for yourself. What did it cost you? You rolled the crew, all of your friends, lots and lots of betrayal. Who's your trusted first mate? What antics did you get in the way of ambition? Which crew member always undermines your authority? So each of these questions you apply to a different party member. So one of them is your trusted first mate, one of them gets in the way of your ambitions, and one of them always undermines your authority. Take a bond with each and 1 bond with your ship. Great. So these are just questions to get you set in the world. Make sure you have motives moving forward. I always like these questions because I feel like they're important for people who are still unfamiliar with the setting or where the story is going. This kind of roots them and gives them a good step 1 and maybe a step 10 to get to, and you kind of plan the road between those points. Return to the ship. Okay, so there are 2 decisions to be made about your ship, and both of them must be made collectively as a crew. If there's disagreement, the fates may act as tiebreaker. First, your ship has its own ship's oddity, its most striking and unique feature. Each playbook has a selection of 3 oddities to choose from. Let's look at it. So let's look at the legend. And it should have oddities. Okay. So the oddities look like this. So these are 3 things that could be weird about your ship. Your ship keeps its legacy through its ghosts. Simple enough. Ghosts I like. This ship is haunted. with all the pirates who once the ship is haunted with all the pirates who once served upon it. Now your souls are bound to it too. Spend a bond with your ship to summon a spectral horde. Strange, loyal, dangerous, 2 harm, size 3 group. Wow, these are very apocalypse world. That kills indiscriminately for a few minutes, sparing only the crew. The ghosts are fathomless and voiceless until you learn what strange curse or act of pirate's greed caused the ship to become this way. When you finally do learn, take history. So this is a nice way of making your ship interesting right off the jump, which is really nice. I feel like as I've tried to run like ship type stories, I've definitely taken a pass at a pirate themed D&D session, but I do struggle with the ship quite a bit. When I get the map, I'm like, okay, what do I do now, right? I put all the people on the map and I just send them off, right? I think a way to make the ship intrinsically interesting from the jump is really useful. So I do like these. These kind of remind me of World Truths from the Wild Sea game that we read like a month ago, where you can choose one of 3 things to help you settle the story. And they're all pre-written and they're all preset, so you can kind of flavor your game, but in a way that the game is ready to handle. So, cool thing. Ship. Secondly, the crew should select the ship's kit, which will tell you what your ship might actually look like, size, sails, armor, and cargo, and how many cannons and lackeys it comes with. When you pick a kit, pay attention to the 3 numbers listed next to that kit. These numbers list your ship's traits. These traits fall between -2 and +3. So this is kind of like ship stats if I understand it. Steadfast, the ship's toughness. Speed, the ship's dexterousness. And fortune, the ship's size. So I'm assuming the legend will have a lot of really good stats for these, right? If I'm understanding it correctly. Kit. Oh, here. So these are different kits. For example, 2+2 steadfast? Yes. +2 steadfast, -1 speed, and 0 fortune. Yes, fortune. A powerful old ship. 1 cannon battery, size 6 group of lackeys, huge batten sails, dark armored hull, a brig with room for up to 6 prisoners, a prominent sharp beakhead. And this is the point in time when I look at a game and say, as I say with every really good game, even if you don't play this game, this is a great resource. Even if you never end up playing Rapscallion, this is a great way to kick off any pirate-related story, right? It gives you details on the pirates that you might be able to play, the equipment that they're carrying and their kit, the backstory ideas, how they're cursed, how they're ruined, their vices. Playbooks are really, really good with just giving examples of what your character could be. And this does it really, really well. So, say you're entering a pirate campaign and you really have no idea how to run a pirate, you could probably just go to this, pick a playbook you like, and regardless of what game you're playing, lean into the tropes that you find within the words. Very useful, very useful. Great. Before you begin, the Fates pass around a world map. It's probably got a few scribbled additions already, since playbooks often instruct players to add elements to the map that reflect the powers in the past. But now every player adds one final detail to it. This final detail can be anything appropriate for this world and your shared fiction. We suggest connecting it with your backstory or your character's goals or factions that your character might know. Mark an X and say there's treasure there. Draw a great leviathan breaching the waves. Create an island and give it a name. Did you accidentally splash coffee on the map? Great. Call it a hole in the universe. This is your world too. You've got a hand on the reins of fate. Nice. So that's how you draw the map. So you just kind of work on it until you guys have a full map. I feel like I wish this was just a little bit more detailed. Maybe examples of what each person could do. I don't know if that's too hand-holdy, but I feel like if I'm introducing players to a game, they like having a basic rubric of a map, and then they can add on to it as we go. I think just a blank page is a little intimidating. So, this feature is cool, but I feel like it could be fleshed out just a little bit. I'm going up. The rules. Your escapades will trigger the rules, not the other way around. So, now comes a time in every... We'll probably just skim this part when we talk about moves. So moves are a thing crucial to Powered by the Apocalypse games where you do something and it triggers a rule, right? So you can play a Powered by the Apocalypse game and never invoke any of the rules. The only time the rules are called for is when what you're trying to do involves chance, involves risk. If there is any risk of failure in what you're trying to attempt, then that's when you would roll for it, using some sort of move, which we'll probably list here. Every PBTA has a different set of moves that lead their story forward, very narrative-based tools, and they usually involve rolling 2d6. So let's look at some examples. Yeah, so this is what we said. You do something, you describe it, you pull the trigger on a move, and then you roll a 2d6 sided dice, add or subtract your blood, vinegar, polish, or spitfire, depending on how it's related to you. So, I don't know, example, say you're trying to beat somebody up and you're really, really strong, so you'd probably roll a 2d6 plus blood, right? If you just want to beat somebody with brute strength. If the result is 6 or less, then the fates are in control, which just means the GM gets to decide what happens. So 6 and below is total failure. 7 to 9 is partial success. So you will succeed on what you're trying to do, which is win the fight in this example, but you will suffer some sort of consequence. Success at a cost is usually what it's called. And then 10 or more is a full success. Yeah. Basic moves. Harm is what happens when you get hurt. When you take X harm, tally it on your playbook sheet. When you take lots of harm, bad things begin to happen. So I noticed on this playbook that after a certain point, the harm bar turns into skulls. Or dripping dice. I'm curious what this means. Actually, this is a really clever art. See, like it's like a 2 on a 6-sided die, but it's dripping, so it looks like a skull. Very nice. Luck is a special resource you can accumulate, and you can spend it to get lucky breaks, use special moves. So this is a resource you collect and spend to make your luck better. If your pirate is compelled to do something, that means they can't help themselves. They have to do it unless they stand their ground against the impulse. Troubles are difficulties affecting your pirate that may cause them to act differently, usually by preventing them from doing something or compelling them to do something foolish. And ante, I don't think we've seen this word yet. Ante is something you can take in fights. When you take the ante, that means you've gained the upper hand and you can act like you've spent a bond with your opponent. Sure. I still don't know what these words truly mean. I think we learned what harm means and what luck means. Compelled is pretty straightforward. I don't know what it means to fight the compulsion, and these two are still relatively vague. So this is when they start listing basic moves. So basic moves are things that everybody can do. When, for example, getting into a scrap. When you get into a scrap, roll plus blood. On a hit, pick up to two options on the list that you manage successfully. For each option chosen, your opponent gets to respond. On a 10 plus, you can also seize the ante. You strike them and deal harm. You wrestle them, something from them. You force them into a precarious new position, and you intimidate them and compel them to back off. So people not familiar with this system, this is basically this is basically a microcosm of combat, right? Harm is the definition of damage. As we saw, you can only take a certain amount of harm before it becomes dangerous for you, right? When you hit them, so on any sort of success, you can pick 2 of these options. One of them is harm, one of them is take something, one of them is move them somewhere else, and one of them is intimidate them and compel them to back off. So these are a little bit abstract for people who are more used to wargaming, who are more used to strategic positioning. These are just the results. kind of skips a lot of the numerical steps. But you get to choose 2 of them whenever you succeed. So that's really cool. So usually you get to deal harm, and you'll probably want to do this or something, right? Because every time you choose an option, the opponent gets to respond. And this is what we're talking about when we say that Daggerheart is a little bit similar to PBTA games, because there's no fixed initiative. The GM simply responds after a player does something. This is one of those situations. So the GM gets their turn after the player gets their turn. Another example is, let's see, hoodwink. Let's look at this. When you hoodwink someone with a convincing lie or disguise, roll plus polish. On a hit, they've brought your story for now. The fates reveal a new opening or opportunity this gives you. On a 7 to 9, the deception is more fleeting than you'd like, or it works far too well. Fate's choice. So again, basic moves, the whole point of them is to move the story forward in a direction that is still yet uncertain. If you are trying to convince somebody of something and you want to leave that to chance, or the fates dictate that it should be left to chance, then you would roll hoodwink. And this is basically persuasion / deception for all the D&D heads out there. So I'm guessing the next couple pages will be different basic moves. Parley, size up, use a clever trick, twist fate. Twist fate's a little different. Yeah, let's try this. When you twist your fate, you spend 1 luck to add something to the scene. Pick one of the following options. The fates answer the attached question. Spend 1 additional luck to answer the question yourself instead. So, interesting. You can spend an additional luck to kind of take the narrative into your own hands. You remember something useful in your pockets. What is it and how did you get it? You spot a fleeting opportunity within the scene. What is it and how can you seize it? You see an important NPC arrive to turn the tide. Who is it and how will they help you? So this is one of those situations, right? This feature really demands that the party trusts each other, right? And this was one of the points of contention in Daggerheart that I brought up last week, where this mechanic doesn't work if the party doesn't trust each other, but it works perfectly fine if they do, right? So Twist Fate is a basic move that really leans into the party being able to steer the story, or being trusted to steer the story. So games that rely on the party trusting each other is very common, right? It's not an inherent flaw that there's a mechanic that forces your party to trust each other. That's just the nature of playing a game together. But the way this is written is truly unique, right? Spend 1 additional luck to answer the question yourself instead. So if you spend 1 luck, the fates or the GM answers it for you. But if you spend twice as much luck, then you choose what you get. So you're basically spending a resource to steer the story in a direction that you would prefer. And that is very significant and often a foreign idea to a lot of people. So I like this ability. I think this is really cool. I think the hands of practiced people will wield this very well. And, you know, play cool. Unleash your power. Oh, here's an example of Spitfire. I know we were asking about this before. When you unleash a power you possess, roll plus Spitfire. On a hit, it does what you want, but exacts a personal cost or surges out of your control, fate's choice. On a 10 plus, you get to choose instead. On a miss, the fates tell you what terrible force you've unleashed. After you roll, you can always declare that the power is now spent and lost forever. If you do, seize the moment and do whatever you want without consequence, ignoring the results of the roll. So, when you unleash a power you possess, let's see. You must possess the power before you unleash it. It can be anything not quite normal. Your lurking lycanthropic curse, your siren song, your connection to the stars. These things might come with tags and or instructions, but unleashing a power allows you to use them in more peculiar, unusual ways. You can always lose the power forever to make it work perfectly, even on a miss. I like this. This is nice. Like true sacrifice for the purpose of progressing the plot. A player should have the opportunity to make that choice and say, I want this to be the last time I ever use this power, and because I'm sacrificing it, I want it to go perfectly, right? Cool mechanic. And let's see. What else can we look at here? Okay, a bond system. You can have up to 3 bonds with someone. If something tells you to gain bonds with someone, write their name down in a free bond space and indicate the maximum bond you can mark with them. You can use this relationship to your advantage. You may spend a bond to help or hinder someone, add 1 to a crewmate's roll, or subtract 2 from their roll. Alternatively, add 1 to your roll against them. Oh. So this kind of favors people who want to backstab, who want to surprise their crewmate with a sudden betrayal. A lot of mutiny energy here. Push an NPC to greatness. Give them or remove an emotional based tag or trouble. Use them as inspiration. Great. Be careful with bond. It's a rare resource. Unlike luck, which replenishes often, bond only refreshes at chapter's end. Okay, I want to read what anti is, because we were talking about this earlier. Whenever you get into a scrap with someone, there's natural back and forth as each party tries to get the upper hand. In Rapscallion, this advantageous position is called the ante. Whenever something tells you to take the ante in an encounter, that means one time, at any point during this encounter, you may act as if you've spent a bond with your primary opponent. In that moment, you seize on the advantage you've generated and get 1 over your primary opposition. You're encouraged to use this as quickly as you can to find your opponent's weakness, trip them up, or resist their compels. Once the encounter is over, the ante's gone. You can only ever have 1 ante in any one encounter. If you have the opportunity to take the ante again, either against the same opponent or someone different, you'll need to spend the ante you have first. So ante is kind of a temporary bond. Basically, if you ever get the ante over somebody, you treat it as a bond. You get to use one of these 3 bond abilities, and you better use it before the encounter is over or you lose it forever. So this is kind of a way to quickly forge this strange, intense connection with whoever you're fighting. And once you find a spot to get an advantage, you can truly give it a mechanical benefit by using it like a bond. I do like that. I think that's pretty straightforward and pretty clean. I see the bonds, kind of the buildup of bonds, like up to 3 bonds, is for kind of slow burn type stories or slow burn type relationships. The ante is something you take advantage of in that very moment. All right. And you know what? I think that's where I'm going to slow down on this reading. There's a lot of other mechanical things you can get into, like a lot of what this is. I think it's starting to get into like items and stuff. Yeah, these are the abilities of items. A little bit too detailed for me to get into right now. And then these are ship moves. This is ship combat, which is kind of cool. Yeah, so now we know that ships have specific stats. So steadfast, speed, and fortune are the stats in particular. And that's how you kind of command your ship as you're combating others. Specials. Oh, you can invest in your ship. You can kind of buy advantages for your ship as you progress forward. That's pretty neat. Yeah, this seems to be a pretty comprehensive system. I don't want to go too much into it because delving into ship combat at length is quite a bit if you're not going to play it. But I'm just showing you that even in this very short, free, by the way, quick start, you can research it yourself. Shipwrecks, ship armor, tales of the art's really cool too. Tales of adventure, adventure in downtime moves. This is all things you can do in your free time. Really cool. These are traits you can give to non-player characters. Lackeys, advancement. Okay, so what is this? You gain levels by marking experience on your character's sheet tally. Now experience you need to level up is your desired level +5. That's similar to masks. Masks uses potential. Whenever you gain a level, erase all your tally marks, start over at 0, and choose one of the advances in your playbook. How do you receive experience? Whenever you get a roll result or 6 or lower, mark 1 experience. Yeah, this is exactly like many other PBTAs. When you roll low, you get an experience. So you kind of advance through failure. When you get 3 bonds with someone, mark 1 experience. During chapter's end, move you can choose to mark experience, and each playbook provides an opportunity to mark 1 experience. Great. Cool. And this is a GM guide. Got it. Okay. I think I'm going to wrap up the stream here because I don't think I'm going to get into this too much, but I'm going to keep scrolling just to show you how comprehensive this is. This is quite a bit of information for an entirely free read. Honestly, as someone who's read a number of Powered by the Apocalypse games on stream, this all seems really par for the course. One of the great strengths of PBTA games is how well they encapsulate a certain motif or genre. So if you really want to play a pirate game, this game is 200% a pirate game, right? It really leans into the tropes. It really leans into the ships and the magic and the menace. Sometimes I'm familiar with, even myself included, using other generic systems to tell whatever story they want, and that works, and that's cool. Like I've used D&D to try to tell a pirate story before, but I kind of had to homebrew everything from the ground up to lean into this more piratey themed aesthetic. Powered by the Apocalypse game, entirely based on pirate lore and pirate stories, really, really cool. And if this is what the Quickstart looks like, I'm excited to see just how much they put into the final product. I like it. I think this is really cool. If I get a chance to play this, it would be really nice. I don't currently have a pirate story in mind, so if anybody out there is running a pirate themed game, look into this. If not to use the mechanics, then to use as an incredible resource as to what your pirate story could look like. Yeah, Wiseman says, seems very complete and polished for a playtest. Yeah, you could pick this up right now and just run it. You could truly just run it. You know what advancement looks like. You know what these characters do. All of these playbooks are very complete. They don't seem to be lacking at all. They don't seem to be missing any advancements. So I'm curious how they're going to improve on this. I'm sure the Backerkit says something about it. But that's where I think I'm going to leave off the stream. Send you guys home early, I suppose. We're only an hour in, so one of the shorter streams, I suppose. But if you want to check this out, again, you can find it at... this is me Googling that a lot. You can find it at Backerkit.com. Rapscallion Strange Pirate Role-Playing on the Great Sea. It's already passed its goal, so it's definitely going to publish. It's definitely going to release. Already has 2,000 backers and a whole 3 weeks for you to really consider your options. So if this is something that interests you, check it out. But for everybody else, I'm going to wrap up the stream here. Good night. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next week with another game. If you have any recommendations, send them my way in the comments on Twitter, the Gmail, thewintrywyvern@gmail.com. And above all, stay frosty.